Freeway read the script this evening, did exactly what I was hoping he'd do.
And for those of you that remember the Project Farm from last year, I'm going to call this one Project Farm 2.0.
That big 8-pointer, he started showing up on trail camera, and he looks really good. I mean, he looks very healthy.
Monday, September 9th here in South Central Kentucky. We're 3 days into bow season, and we're after Freeway again. He's a buck that I've been watching all summer. He's a very mature Kentucky buck and a great representation of what Kentucky has to offer. We're hoping Freeway makes his way out of this bedding area into these beans. Kentucky's kind of hit or miss this year as far as mass crop grows. You either got them or you don't. And this particular farm, the North Farm, does not have a particularly big mass crop this year, so I'm very confident that Freeway is still keyed in on these beans. So that's kind of the plan. Hurry up and wait and see what happens. We got set up here. Didn't know if the wind was going to be right. On paper, it's not right. Just kind of the way the land lays, geographical features, it just kind of plays tricks on the wind. So we were able to get in here, and I think we've got a pretty decent wind, believe it or not. Freeway initially, when I found him, was bedded several hundred yards from here, up next to the parkway. I'm certain that he's bedded in this finger of woods a few hundred yards away from us. I watched him last night in this bean field. He came out about 45 minutes of shooting light left. Still running the same bachelor group that he's been running with for a couple of months now. And fingers crossed that he does the same thing he did last night. And if he did, he should offer us somewhere in the neighborhood of a 20-30 yard shot. That's the plan anyway, so we're going to sit tight and see what happens. Holding up, it's still good, way better than I thought it was going to be when I originally got here. In fact, I had planned on a pretty good chance of me not even coming in and setting up because of the wind. He got in here about 30 minutes before dark last night, which tells me he's probably not bedded too far from here. Just center punched him. Oh my goodness. He came out exactly where he came out last night. The bugs are eating me alive. I've never itched so bad in my entire life. I just kept saying, it's gonna be worth it, it's gonna be worth it. Oh my goodness, September 10th. Man, you have been good to me. crazy about this whole thing is this is my 30th year chasing whitetails, and it all started on the adjacent farm from this farm, oddly enough. Hunting with my grandfather, World War II veteran. All right, a couple hours after I got a shot at Freeway, I backed out, called some friends, got good friend Josh Honeycutt out here with me, good friend JD Williams, and so pretty special moment for me, and even better, get to spend it with good friends like Josh and JD, and hopefully we'll get over here and get our hands on Freeway. We got an arrow here.
Blood all the way there.
Check him out. Watch it be a rock. I see horns, boys. And man, I was wrong. He's in velvet.
Full of velvet.
Unbelievable. What a toad. What a stud. Well, here we are with Freeway. You know, the story ended tonight. Tuesday, September 10th. It was a good day. I've been watching this deer all summer, blasting him from afar. You know, we kind of went old school this year. I wasn't able to get any trail cameras down here because I was just afraid that the act of doing that was gonna pressure these deer and potentially bump this deer off of his pattern. So was careful not to be too aggressive. I did not want to pressure this deer. Essentially, I hunted observation stands really the first couple of days. I laid eyes on this deer yesterday afternoon about 30 minutes before daylight. We slipped all the way in here and got on him. Freeway read the script this evening, did exactly what I was hoping he'd do, and it all culminated tonight, and here we are with our hands around him.
Gosh, I've been waiting for that deer to show up. I still think he's only a 3-year-old, maybe 4. He's back. 9:15 at 9:49 p.m. Gotta keep him alive for another year or two. Shredding a tree right there. It's hard to believe the season is about a week away here in Iowa. Grant and I just got back from my elk hunt. Grant and I are spending all day basically checking cameras on various farms, doing one big card pull. So far we've been to Mike and I's farm and everything's looking great out there. All the food's finally coming in, and we have a number of good bucks using that piece, so I'm excited for opening day on that farm. We're currently at a new farm that I've just recently got permission to help manage. And for those of you that remember the project farm from last year, I'm going to call this one Project Farm 2.0 because it's a little bit, somewhat of a similar situation. It really hasn't had any management done to it. There's been a couple people hunting it off and on, but not very often. But this one's a little bit unique in that the landowner, her goal is actually to run hunters, like almost like a small outfitting on the side, just to make some money for on this property, but she needs help with the management side of it, so that's where I come in. I'm going to try to, first of all, learn this property this year, learn the potential of it, and make some improvements on it. You know, getting permission, for me, I own one farm with Mike, like most of you guys know. Everything else I hunt is by permission, and you got to find creative little ways to get that permission. And this situation is exactly that for me. You have to provide value, and my value to her is to try to make her some money by making this a really good hunting spot for people that, you know, maybe non-residents that draw Iowa tags, or even local people that want to pay for a place to hunt. So it's a really cool piece, about 300 acres, a lot of timber, and I think the potential is through the roof just from seeing it so far. Just pulled the second card. I put cameras out before I left for my elk hunt. Pulled the second camera, and there's already one good buck that he's on almost every day. He's on camera. Really cool looking deer, some unique character to him. So that's exciting. We still got 4 more cameras to pull today. But I just wanted to introduce this piece to you guys just because I think it'll be a fun story to follow along with. This has the makings of a really good hunting property. It just needs some work, so I'm excited for this project. After the rain finally quit, Grant and I spent some time exploring the property, just trying to figure out how it lays a little bit more. Unfortunately, no other big deer on camera. A couple deer with some potential for sure. One thing's very evident, there's a lot of does, so I'm gonna try to focus some time on taking some does off this property this year. But this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun one to figure out, and it'll be a fun one to work on and improve. I love learning new properties, and this is gonna be a fun one. If I can get free reign to do all the improvements I want and turn it into a good hunting property, it's gonna be a blast. So my next steps are, one, I need more cameras to cover this much ground and really get a better idea of what's actually used in the farm, because the number of deer is crazy. There's got to be some better bucks coming through there. But for now, for me, it's about putting a game plan together for the bucks that I do have on camera on some of these other properties. And the list is pretty good this year. There's a lot of good target bucks, and over the next few days here in my blog, I'll start talking about who those bucks are and how I think I could potentially get on them early season or later in October. But one thing's for sure, I can't wait to get in a stand October 1st.
I'm continuing to get my cameras out here on the farm and jumping around to different spots. This is a little, I call it a micro plot, back in the timber. It's planted to big and beastie. The deer are hitting this really hard. They're really pounding it. We were in here about a week ago and it looked really good. Now, I mean, they've mowed about, I don't know, 25% of it out of here. So hopefully there's still gonna be enough when the season starts. But I did smell something driving back in here, something dead. And there's a pond, a little small pond down off to the side there. So I'm gonna take a quick hike on the way out and see if there's a deer down in there. I haven't been finding a lot of deer dead from the EHD, but I've been hearing some reports from people that they're still finding them. So I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. I don't think it's a major epidemic, but I'm gonna go check this one out before I leave. Yeah, it's exactly what you don't want to find dead. I mean, you don't want to find any of them dead, but this, if I had to guess, I'd say it was a younger buck. You know, you don't know that for a fact, but you know, he just doesn't have that look of an older deer. But look at all the stuff he had going. Extra point coming up between the 3 and the 4. An inner point on this side. Another sticker here, another sticker there. I mean, this is the kind of buck that, as a 5-year-old, if he was 3, could have been a real giant. Yeah, it's a bummer. I have not been seeing, well, I've been hearing about some deer being found, but fortunately, the one that I'm most excited about hunting so far this year, my number 1 buck at this point, that big 8-pointer, he started showing up on trail camera and he looks really good. I mean, he looks very healthy, starting to show actual daylight pattern back on one of those ridges. In fact, it's the same ridge where Drake filmed him back in early August. So that's going to be a good candidate for us early in the season. We'll see. I mean, I'm going to move that camera. We're going to go there next. And I was heading there anyway, but this is a little bit of a detour. We're going to move that camera and put it over a scrape and not have any more corn back there now. I'll just check that on the scrape and just see if he's still using that during daylight. And if he is leading into the season, then we'll wait until the conditions are right. This is the same spot that we showed you in the last episode, talking about 2 bucks, upturn and then this big 8-pointer. And this upturn buck that I was excited about, he hasn't shown up yet this year, so he may have moved. If he did, hopefully he's still on the farm and we can find him with cameras as I start moving him around. But this 8-pointer is going to be the number 1 target now. I'm going to pull the card off here. This is where he was. This is where I got the daylight pictures of him on the last card pull. I think he's bedding off the end of this point and coming out into this rough looking bean field here. and then there's a little bit of corn past that. So I think there's enough food here to keep him until hopefully October 1. I'm going to move that camera now. I'm just going to move it up on the ridge just a little ways and just point it off across the top of this ridge. It's only 25 yards wide, so hopefully I can pick him up on the camera without having any kind of bait in front of it. Take the card, head back to the house, and we'll see what's on there. These are the photos from the second card pull on that camera. The card that I just pulled today didn't have any pictures of him on it, but he was on there quite a bit in daylight on the first pull. So that's enough to tell me that, you know, there's some hope at least that he'll be on a daylight pattern when the season opens in 11 days. I've got the camera set now so that there's no bait. It's just going to take pictures of him as he walks past. And hopefully, I'll keep checking that every few days, but hopefully he stays on a daylight pattern. But this is going to be our buck for opening day, or opening week anyway, unless something else surfaces. And I'm starting to get more and more cameras out, so it just keeps getting more interesting each week as I'm finding some of these deer back that we're looking for, and hopefully there'll be a few new ones. You know, every year it seems like we stumble onto at least one buck that we didn't expect. I know that next week we're going to have some more action from Kentucky. We got Mike Reed's hunt, and there are other seasons that are starting to open too. So we should be able to continue to show you hunting, as well as keep updating you on the stories of some of these bucks that we're trying to pattern, and eventually we'll be getting in the tree stands chasing after them as well. Well, thanks for joining me. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail. And remember to always dream big.